Good morning. Hello, friends. So I recently saw this bit I thought was just genius. I can't do it like you. You were kind of lost in the moment. It's genius. How about The Godfather, Marvin Shankin? Seriously. We are all of us, thank you, Marianne, all of us who are blessed to have a role in this wonderful world of winemaking, we owe a great debt of gratitude to you for what you've done to lift our industry. You are truly the Godfather, so thank you. Thank you very much.
Jim, I'd like to start talking about the book. You wrote a beautiful story that was on the New York Times best-selling list called Always by My Side, which was published in 2008, about your father. Well, it goes into your career, but also your father's struggles with Alzheimer's. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to do that?
I wanted to write a story, a love story, about my hero. And I knew that time was running short, so I had a chance to write a book about my father, figuratively being always by my side as I was going through a 63-day stretch of calling the Super Bowl, calling the NCAA tournament and Final Four, and calling the Masters. I think I've done that cycle now 7 times, but that was the first year.
Wow.
And he was incapacitated. He couldn't make the trip with me, which was always the goal, to have him with me by my side. And anyway, I found places where he could have had a role, and the book was a backdrop about us traveling that circuit together. The best thing I ever did in my life, to be honest. I wrote it to be a cathartic thing for me. It was not about trying to push a book, although it did rise immediately to an instant New York Times bestseller, and more importantly, it galvanized that community of caregiving and people that have been afflicted with Alzheimer's and the families, and how it has changed their lives. And it actually, short of it is, we were able, after the book, I knew I had something to do in my life that was more than just writing a book and running from the next great championship of American sport to the next. I felt a calling, and my family opened an Alzheimer's Research Institute in Houston. It's called the Nantz National Alzheimer's Center. It's named for my father. And some would say right now it's the #1 research institute in the world. And it's all for my dad. Came from that book.
Absolutely. Yeah. You've said to me that collaboration leads to a cure. I think that's such a beautiful sentiment. But let's fast forward to the next chapter. About a year later, you're at a restaurant in Connecticut, and then what happens?
Well, that handsome guy on the left approached a table. I was there with a very dear friend, Dick Berkowitz, and Peter Deutsch came over, introduced himself. He just finished the book. Yeah. And he wanted to read the book because he works with his father, the legendary Bill Deutsch. And they've had a great family business for a long time. He wanted to see what another father-son relationship looked like. It just so happened that he had recently been featured in Wine Spectator. So I was familiar with the family, who they were, what they did. And I was at that point in the process of trying to figure out a way to gain entry into this world that we all love. And anyway, I had been seeking a partner to go on this next calling, was to produce great wine, to produce something that would make my family proud. Yeah. And Peter is aligned the same way. And that's really what drives us, is this restlessness to try to do things, not just to be in the game, but to do something that's great in honor of our fathers who really inspired us to try to be our best.
I'm so impressed that he kept that answer so short. The first time I met Jim was with Peter, and the two of them told the story of how they met and all the similarities in their alignment. I think it was 3 hours of a conversation. So you've brought this up, this curiousness, this restlessness, this calling. You apply that to all of the projects that you're involved in, correct?
Absolutely. It's been the driving force in my life. That picture right there is from 1985. I've been at CBS now for 39 years. I'm in the 40th cycle of everything now. Thank you.
That is incredible. So,
Can I tell you that truly, this sounds like good copy. I wanted to work for CBS since I was a little boy, specifically that network, because CBS broadcast the Masters tournament, and I wanted to be one of those voices. It had nothing to do with wanting to be on television. It had everything to do with wanting to be a storyteller. And I love the way they presented the NFL. And lo and behold, that other picture in a blazer, the young kid there, yeah, and that was in 1985. I was just 3 years out of college. I came up to New York. I was asked to audition. I was one of 5. I landed the job. And I took that restlessness, that obsession, that passion and energy to try to figure out a path to creating what I wanted to achieve. And lo and behold, with a whole lot of gratitude in my heart, I got that opportunity. So I'm in my 40th year of calling the NFL. The 40th Masters for me is coming up this weekend. Houston at Green Bay. Check your local listings. I'm on my way to a Packers practice. I'll be there about 1 o'clock Central Time today.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not joking.
But I got to tell you, this wine part of my life had been stirred since the late 1990s. And then lo and behold, just got a little bit more involved in it, stepped into it, met vintners, met great people, figured out the process. How it might work. And I just needed the right things to land in my lap. And along comes Peter. And again, we're aligned to try to find great sourcing, great people to quarterback our operation, like James McPhail, who's here today. He's a superstar. And, we're really proud to team up with him.
I don't want to interrupt you, but you are starting to touch on what the next thing I wanted to bring up, which is both wine and your day job are about storytelling. And when I asked you what the similarities were between the two jobs, you did start talking in these sports metaphors. So is James the coach or the quarterback?
Well, long ago, Sammy Baugh was a coach and quarterback. He did both. That was in 3/4 of a century ago. It's kind of hard to do both. He really is. We're kind of the general managers and the owners. It's about finding the right people, let them do their thing.
Right.
So, yeah, I think if he wants to be the quarterback, he's our Patrick Mahomes. If he wants to be the coach, he's our Andy Reid. You're physically more aligned with Patrick Mahomes than my friend Andy Reid. But I know that we have a great one, and we have great partners out there like that you're having here, this Dutton Ranch Chardonnay from our 22 vintage, 93 points. Thank you. We love our association with the Dutton folks. You were there with us, Marianne, on our 10th anniversary a couple years back.
Am I one of the players?
Yes, there you go. All these metaphors, what's going on? But the Dutton name has tremendous credibility there in Russian River Valley and really everywhere. And we went to make a presentation to them years ago about wanting to be able to have a footprint on their property. And they heard our story, they saw our passion, and they let us in. And we were able to produce, for our first vintage, a little bit, a couple thousand cases actually. Well, now we're the second biggest producer at Dutton Ranch, and we're proud of that. And it speaks to relationship building, teamwork, passion, energy, and trust that people have in us, we have in them, and I hope it's a reflection of the integrity they think that we have in representing them well.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing we've talked about, the parallels that you said to me, that people think the NFL just happens. but there are thousands of people involved, and when it comes to the wine industry, you also saw that similarity of people working towards a common goal. I'm glad you brought up the Dutton family because they are one of the premium wine grape growers out there. So you are not joking, you're going to be at Lambeau Field in like an hour, right?
Well, it's about an hour and 40-minute flight, but it's
Okay,
not too
hour and
bad. It's not going to be nearly as much fun as it is sitting here sampling a few wines this morning. But
So tell us a little bit, in the last couple of minutes, what that process is like for you as you're starting to switch from wine to thinking about the game.
well, the game never really leaves you. And I just saw the Packers a couple weeks ago, so I mean, I'm ready to go. If the game happened to break out in this room right now, I could call it. By the way, I'm going to use one more metaphor. I see all these glasses, all these tables, these great servers who are doing a fantastic job, and they really are. I thought by now, we're somewhere around the third quarter of the morning session. I thought for sure there would be one massive turnover by now, if I may use that metaphor. One person crashing into a table and literally hundreds of glasses breaking on the ground. But so far it's been a clean performance, which is good. No, but the calling is central in my life. And it's so fun when you do things that you enjoy. It's never work, but it's involved. I mean, it doesn't happen. It is a big part of my life. I enjoy it. You get to a certain station in life. I looked at the kid there from 1985, and now I'm in my mid-60s, and I'm still doing what the childhood dream was driving me to do. And then the adult dream was to try to do something like the Alzheimer's Research Institute and the calling. So what you find out is that with each decade, you get a little wiser. You want to do things that, A, you enjoy. It's got to be fun. Otherwise, what are you going to waste your time? You've reached the second half of your life. It's got to be enjoyable. And two, you got to be doing it with people you want to be with. Oh. So that's basically every decision I make in my life. Yeah. Is it going to be fun? Is it going to be with people I want to be surrounded by?
Lovely.
And that's, to me, that's what the calling is in my life. It's fun, and it's with people I love.
Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you so much for being in our lives in multiple ways. I highly recommend the book. Hopefully it will remind you of your parent or inspire you of a parent that you wish you had. And thank you for this wine, which is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you to Peter and James for making it happen.
Well, when my father passed, Arnold Palmer was a very big mentor in my life. I've been guided by mentors led by my dad. But as my dad became less able to help direct his son, Arnold and some other great men were there for me. And when my dad passed, Arnold Palmer came up to me. He had big hands, big giant mitts, and he beat me right across the chest. And he said, "Your father, he's right there." So I truly feel like every day before my feet hit the floor, I give a prayer of many thanks for all the wonderful blessings I have in my life. And I pray that on this day, my parents are with me wherever I go. It does truly guide me every single day. They're still here. They just live right here. So thank you. Thank you for having us. We appreciate you.